What is up, guys? Welcome to the HVAC podcast. We are right here. Sitting with us today, Brandy Pendleton. Brandy, let the audience know exactly who you are, what you do, and what your role is.
Hey everyone, I'm Brandy Pendleton, and I am one of the owners of Pendleton Heating and Cooling here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I run the office for the most part. Sometimes I do go out and help in the field when it's necessary, though, but usually I'm here in the office.
Let's go. So on the day-to-day office stuff. So like what exactly do you do on the day-to-day right there?
Most of my day is spent scheduling and talking with our customers, and I do some of the sales stuff and all of those things. We're pretty small. We're working on growing, so we don't really have a sales department right now. It's just me and my husband doing those kinds of things. So I tend to do a lot of that and interacting with our customers and scheduling and you know bookkeeping and keeping up with our inventory and all of those things.
Okay. So how long have you been in the industry?
So Pendleton Heating and Cooling's been open since 2019.
Nice.
Um, my husband actually worked for the company that we took over from. So he's been in the gas industry and then the HVAC industry for over 20 years or so. I just kind of joined in 2019 when we started. I was actually an elementary school teacher before that. So I spent 10 years in the public schools, and
Wow.
then the opportunity kind of came up for us with Pendleton, and I jumped in head first.
I love teachers. First, thanks for being a teacher. Teaching is so hard. My
Yeah, yeah,
my wife's side of the family all have teaching backgrounds, and
yeah, yeah.
I've had plenty of Christmases and Thanksgivings with them, so I've heard a lot
Yeah,
about teaching.
yeah.
Not that it's horrible. It's just really hard work,
It's a
and
lot. Yeah,
a lot of
for sure.
kids. A lot of
Yeah.
kids. You get into their lives. It's tough. But anyways, when it comes down to it, you being the owner as well, being in the HVAC since 2019, what do you feel like you're really good at?
I think for our company, one of the main things that makes us stand out from others and that we're really good is our customer service. I think, we really tend to center everything around our customers and what's best for them, what's best for their system. We really strive to be honest and accurate with that and give them really good service for the price. Um, we specifically have our precision tune-ups that are pretty popular. We not only do the inspection part of everything to make sure everything's running correctly and safe and all of that stuff, but we also do a thorough cleaning where we clean the cabinet and we pull the blower wheel and clean the blower wheel and change your your furnace filter, which is not something a lot of companies
Hmm.
normally include in their tune-ups. So that's definitely something that kind of helps us stand out a little bit. And then,
Yeah.
when we do AC tune-ups, we kind of do the same thing with the cleaning and the inspection. So
Wow. So essentially you're saying like you guys are all stars at customer service.
I think so.
I feel like that's because you work very closely to your customers.
Mhm.
Do you see a lot of owners in the industry feel disconnected from the customers and like they don't know how to provide that service? Or do you feel like all HVAC business owners, have great customer service? Like what do you see from your point of view?
I think that's somewhere that a lot of HVAC companies kind of struggle, and it's not because they don't want to, it's just kind of that they don't know how, or they don't know, you know, how to approach that or whatever. I think, a lot of tradespeople are very focused on doing well with their trade. And so they want to do a great job with the HVAC and the service that they're doing. And then they have some disconnect with their customer because they're much more focused on that part. And I think a huge key to that is to educate your customer and to spend a little bit of time with them, kind of explaining what it is that you're doing and why you're doing whatever it is that you're doing or recommending or whatever. Taking 5 seconds to tell them that their dog is adorable or that their yard is beautiful or, anything to connect with them in some way or another. One thing that we always do is we follow up with them, even if it's just a regular customer that uses us every year, I still will call within a few days of their service. Hey, just wanted to make sure everything was working well, make sure the service went well. Is there any questions I can answer? Handwritten cards go a long way, little things like that. Build those relationships and make them feel connected to you so you stay top of mind for them.
Wow. I've interviewed five other HVAC companies. This is the sixth episode, and you're the first one that has said, and maybe they do this, but they just didn't say it. But you're the first one that you call the homeowners after the service is done. Is that normal? Do you know any other companies that do that?
Um, I don't think so. I mean, I think some of them try to do some follow-up. I think,
Yeah.
people tend to want to make things easier, especially when we own a business and we have 100 hats that we're wearing. I get that. And so they do the automated things where you get the emails and the text messages. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But a little bit of follow-up definitely goes a long way as far as leaving an impression with your customers and stuff. And so even if they start out with just like making it a goal to do that once or twice a week with, random customers, I'll just pick one from our schedule and do that, I think would be hugely beneficial.
Yeah, and that's like a personal follow-up where the homeowner feels like, wow, like this company like actually cares about me, and
Right,
I'm not just a check to them, right?
right. Hmm.
Okay. So, you mentioned that, your like background is an education. How do you apply that to make your HVAC business successful?
Um, the two most important pieces of being a teacher are building relationships with your students
Hmm.
and the education that they're getting, right? So I think I apply both of those things pretty well. Building those relationships, like I said, with your customers, not just with your customers, but with your team as well. You want to have people on your staff that really buy into that same idea and are excited and willing to work at those relationships and stuff too. So you have to have good relationships with people that you work with and with your customers, just like you do with your students and their parents. And then obviously, like you need to know what you're talking about and you need to be able to explain it to people to help them understand. Kids learn in different ways and so do people. So if you're explaining to them, why their capacitor has gone out and they're not really understanding, you got to have some strategies in there, some different ways to kind of explain that to them, or why it's more beneficial for them to replace their system than it is for them to do this very expensive repair or whatever. So I think I've definitely applied those two things to HVAC as well.
Wow. Yeah, education is really big because I talked to a really seasoned guy and I'm trying to get him on the podcast, but um he has made a very successful HVAC business, and he's like, the number one thing I do is I just educate my customers and I give them
Yeah.
options. I don't force
Yeah.
stuff on them. I give them options on what they can do for their system so that their home is comfortable again. Um, do you feel like your team like does that really well?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think, like I said, we're very customer centered and what's best for them. So we definitely want to be able to educate them on how their system works, how it works well with their home, and what's going to work best for them. And we always try to give options because even if someone does have it in their budget, they might, still want something less expensive that's still going to work just as well, or they may be
Yeah.
considering selling their home in a few years, so they don't want to invest as much. Or you could be on the opposite end of that spectrum. You never want to assume what someone wants. You want to be able to give them as many options as possible, but you also want to make sure they understand those options and that all of the options actually work well for what they need.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like, how do you train that in your organization? So when you get new people from other companies or just someone new, like how do you train that, that type of mindset where they need to educate their customers? Because in this industry, there's a lot of people that just want the check
Sell,
and
sell, sell. Yeah.
and they want to sell, right? And there's nothing wrong with the gurus that say you need to sell so that you can make money for your kids and whatnot. But sometimes it can fall over the page where it's unethical, right? So how do you guys
Right.
teach, be ethical, communicate with the homeowners very clearly, and at the end of the day, like be educational and be very, very nice, and have that 5-star service? How do you train that?
We're very intentional in our training. We spend a lot of time talking with our new employees about what our values are and what they mean and why we chose those things. We have those things posted on our wall, and we talk about them often. Um, when we do any type of review or ride along or any of those things, the conversation always goes towards what are our values and how are we making sure that those values are being met. And there's just a really good understanding of that from the very beginning. And we talk about it a lot and we apply it in every way that we can. Um, and we just look for people who will have that sort of buy-in. It's really difficult because I understand that you're there for your paycheck. It's not yours, you don't own it, but there's some part of ownership that we would like for you to have, because we want to value you, we want you to value us and our customers and all of those things. So we spend a lot of time in our initial training talking about those kinds of things and what it looks like and how we like to do it and all of that stuff. It's just a lot of training.
Yeah, I mean 100%, and you brought up your core values, and what I've noticed talking to all these great companies that I've been on in the last 5 episodes, as they all have wonderful, amazing core values, and they're all they're all different, but it makes their company work really well.
Hmm.
So what
Hmm.
core values does your company have that makes you guys work so well and like is putting you guys on a positive trajectory to where you want to get to?
So, kind of our mission statement that we say is like, we're bringing integrity back to HVAC. And
Nice.
so, what that means for us is by using our values to kind of drive that idea. And so, honesty and integrity, are a pretty important part of what we do. Building a community, that was what I was talking about as far as building those relationships, community within our company, community with our customers, and even outside of that, reaching out to our community. Um,
Yeah.
and honesty, integrity, respecting ourselves, respecting our customers and their time, and being accurate with what we do and intentional in what we do, and putting our customers and their needs and satisfaction first are kind of what drives our mission there. So,
Wow. No, I like that. I really also like the fact that you have the integrity part and that you're bringing the integrity back to HVAC because, like I said earlier, just sometimes it just feels like especially like I don't know if you have any big companies that are getting acquired by like corporate guys, but
yeah,
they
it
okay,
happens
you
a
do.
lot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So they want it's a to them like strictly business. We want the high margins in HVAC and we know we can sell these units because someone's gonna
Hmm.
buy it, right? So for
Hmm.
you guys, when it comes down to integrity and community, how does a service-based business like yours build community and get to a point where people are literally tagging your business and like singing your praise because you guys are so good at what you do? Like, how did you build that?
I really just think that being authentic,
Okay.
we are people too, and we have been in different positions in our life as far as our budgets and all of those things go, and priorities and all of that. And we try to apply that to when we're talking with our customers and remembering those things. We have to feed our family. And I understand that. And we try to make sure that our customers understand that, but you can do that in a fair way. And, it's not always about let's replace this thing. Sometimes we can repair that thing. And sometimes you can get a few more months out of it so that you can plan for your replacement and save for it and all of those things. So we just try to make sure and keep kind of that human aspect to it and
Nice.
that understanding.
Nice.
And again, just that education piece. I know I keep saying that, but man, if you can really get people to understand the why of what you're recommending, then it sells itself, right?
What if so when it comes down to education, like what if someone really like they're new and they want to educate the homeowner, like the capacitor situation, right? They're like, hey, your capacitor, you know, doesn't work because of XYZ, and the homeowner just is not getting it. Like if you were there with that new hire, that new tech, like what would you tell them? If they can't like communicate or educate the customer or they're having a hard time, how would you teach that person to, like, hey, this is how we do it?
Hmm. Well, I think if we couldn't really get them to understand the technical aspects of it, then you kind of just start to frame it as far as like we're making sure and we're looking out for you. So whether it's a safety issue or whether
Wow.
it's a keep you warm because it's going to be 25 degrees tonight, and I'd really hate for your furnace to go out in the middle of the night. So we're trying trying to prevent that from happening. You know, you can always frame it in a different way and explain it in a different way to them. Even if they don't want to or don't understand the technical aspect of it, then you give them the why of the reason why you want to do that thing.
Yep. Yeah. So, I do marketing, right? And we've learned that
Hmm.
through our testing, when we put up, hey, Phoenix gets hot.
Right.
When we put up, you don't want to be hot, right? If you don't want to be hot, click the link.
Right.
More people click this link than just, hey, we have a unit starting at 59
Right.
a month. Because
Yeah.
for them, they're like, okay, price. But for this one, they're like, oh crap, I don't want, especially when it's 110 here, I don't want my family to go through this heat
Right.
wave with no
Mhm.
AC. Or I don't want, it's going to be more expensive for me to rent out an Airbnb if my stuff goes out, right? So that's why we let all of our clients in hot climates, the essentially the marketing aspect is like putting up like this barrier where like, hey, you don't want to be hot, you don't want to be cold, you don't want to have this
Mhm.
problem what you just said, you don't want your capacitor, you don't want your unit to stop working when it's 25 degrees out there, right? And I like that you brought up that, the that it's cold out there in Colorado. So in HVAC, have you ever done
Mhm.
any HVAC in like other areas or only Colorado?
No, we've only been in Colorado. You know, my dad was a plumber growing up, so and we lived in Texas when I was younger, so he was a plumber in Texas, and I just know even from plumbing, there's a whole lot of difference between that. I think for HVAC, for us in Colorado, we're very fortunate because it's hot enough for air conditioners and it's cold enough for furnaces, so we get to stay fairly busy regardless of the season. So we're pretty fortunate as far as that goes, I think.
Yeah, that's good. So how do you guys like handle the seasonality change? It's like how do you talk to your customers like when it's August, right, or September, and the seasons
Mhm.
are changing, or right now when it's turning spring into summer. How do
Mhm.
you educate your customers like, hey guys, you need to have this maintenance or this tune up, or you need a new furnace or new heater or new AC unit.
So, with we have our own maintenance plans. We call them Pendleton savings plans,
Cool.
and with that, they're scheduled automatically to have two cleanings a year. So for those customers, it's really easy because we have them already in the calendar, and then I just give them a call and tell them, hey, it's time for that spring service or that fall service, and we get them scheduled and taken care of. As far as like other customers or potential customers, a lot of our marketing goes around that education piece of, hey, the season's transitioning. Have you checked your, air conditioner? Make sure that everything's clean around the areas outside, and all the things that a basic homeowner can do. And then, if you haven't had it serviced in a while, you probably want to give us a call and let us do the technical parts there or whatever. We spend a lot of our marketing time in those transition times trying to educate people about why it's beneficial and what they need to be doing.
When it comes down to the buy yearly services, right, 2 times a year,
Mhm. Mhm.
you got to get your teeth checked twice a year. You got to get your unit checked. You got to do your air filter every month or other month. I don't know, every month, I think. From a homeowner, it's just like, these guys just want my money, right? But why is it important for someone to take care, to like look or have someone look at their unit, every other year or once a quarter, whatever you guys recommend?
Well, we do it twice a year because, there's 4 seasons in the year, but there's out of those 4 seasons, there's only two different units that you use. So we try to split it up in between, spring and fall or somewhere right around then. And really, we just frame it as you're preparing to use this system. So let's make sure that it's ready to go, that it's clean, that it's safe, that it's running properly, all of those things. And then, um, you maintain your warranty by maintaining your equipment. So that's something
Oh,
else
okay.
that we make sure and tell people, like, your warranty will not, they won't honor your warranty if you don't do maintenance service on your unit at least once a year.
Yeah.
So, we
And
try
the
to make sure people know that too.
and the Pendleton savings plan make sure that
Mhm.
their warranty stays.
Yes, exactly.
Look at that. I
Exactly.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
smart. Yeah. So if anyone's listening, have those service agreements. That's in your mind a service agreement, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Hmm.
I've talked to a few HVAC owners, not on the pod, but they're like, yeah, we don't do that. And I'm like, I wonder why. But in my mind, I'm just like, it's kind of a no-brainer to have it, especially if now I'm just learning now that it keeps the warranty intact, right? So like
Right.
what do you think's a big mistake that HVAC owners are doing in 2024 when it comes to growing their business?
Well, I think if they're not offering maintenance agreements, that's a little crazy. I think
Yeah.
that's guaranteed customer and a guaranteed work. And not only are you maintaining their equipment, but when something goes wrong, they're going to call you for that too, right? So you have a
Yeah,
customer for everything. For when they're ready for a new installation or they want to upgrade something, who are they going to call? They're going to call you, obviously, right?
exactly.
Not only that, it helps with that building relationship portion also because you get to talk to them and you get to see them at least once, if not twice a year, depending on how you set your stuff up. So I definitely think it's also a great filler for when you are slower. If there's not a lot of
Yeah.
service coming in, repair coming in, you've got at least your maintenance calls that you can start making and getting those maintenance customers in. And a lot of times, tell me about a humidifier, or I noticed that you have this really high MER filter for allergens,
Yeah.
and it's really restricting the airflow in your furnace. So if you're having allergy issues, let me tell you about some of this other stuff that might help you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So
And it
like
gives you an opportunity there too.
yeah, I mean like just exactly as you explained it, except so my client had a tech go out. I have 5 clients in HVAC, so that no one's gonna know. But I had a tech go out and nothing bad, but they noticed that this homeowner was very like sanitary and wanted to
Hmm.
make sure that their space was like really clean. Well, they got the unit on there, no problem. But they sold these products that to make sure the air filtration systems were really well in the home, and this is something that a homeowner actually would want and need. But
Hmm.
the techs weren't they weren't aware. They didn't realize that they didn't put two and two together. So this homeowner actually went to go to another company that
Mm.
offered
Yep.
them that, right? And they went to this other
Hmm.
company. So do you see homeowners like jump companies around with you guys or not that very much?
You know what? We are very fortunate. We have a really good, loyal base of
Right
customers.
on. How do you do that?
And
How do you do that?
I feel like I'm beating this dead horse, but really just those relationship building things, just
Wow.
the little things.
Yeah.
Every year I start in October making handwriting Christmas cards, and I'll do 10 or 15 of them a day so that they're all ready to go by December. And I send out Christmas cards to all of our customers with my handwriting on them. And I can't tell you how many of our customers are like, I can't believe that you sent me that card. I love it. The phone calls, we do little, post-it notes and little Christmas ornaments and things like that to help them remember you. And then they get to the point where they love you so much and they appreciate you so much that not only are they telling people about you when you're talking about your HVAC system, but they're actually looking for ways to talk about you and to give you those referrals and that word of mouth. I mean, one of the biggest money makers we have is referrals and word of mouth. And so when we can get into their head and they remember us and then they're even seeking out ways to talk about us, they're doing our marketing for us.
Word of mouth is the strongest, man. I
Yeah.
love word of mouth is my favorite. So, you guys, that is phenomenal that you're doing handwritten notes to your homeowners. That's wild. Not wild to me that like I can't believe you're doing this, but I'm like that's cool that you're going the extra mile to make sure these relationships are built up because
Hmm.
I know that for me like relationships are everything in my business too, to make sure
Hmm.
that the marketing is going good, that my HVAC business owners like me, and to make sure that
Yeah.
we're doing a good job. So that I all my new HVAC guys, I give them it's not a handwritten note. I might take your idea, but what I do
You should.
is there's these Google cards. I don't know if you see them, but all the techs now on their team have this Google card where once the job is finished, they just need to tap the homeowner's phone, um,
Hmm.
and a 5-star review pulls up automatically on that homeowner's
Nice.
phone, and
Hmm.
they're able to leave a review. Now, it's not my card. Like, I'm not making any money off of it.
Hmm.
I buy it for them so that they get more reviews. But like those are like small things we do as a company to make sure
Yeah.
that, like, reviews are important. And
Hmm.
although like although like, we can only send out so many links, I think it's better to actually have the tech like, hey, tap my card, right? Or the
Right.
service, like, just, was the service good? And if you ask right there, reviews will go up. I've seen companies that have been in business for 20 years and have 55-star reviews. I'm like, that is crazy that you've been in business for that long and you don't have that many reviews, right?
Hmm.
So
Right.
do you guys like try to get a lot of reviews, or do they just come to you because you guys are so dang good?
I think that people are much more apt to complain on the internet than they are to come tell how great you are. We definitely have had some customers who just reach out and do it, but we usually have to ask for those. And I don't even think it has to do with they don't want to. It's just not something that they think about.
Yeah.
So we definitely try to remember and ask them. Or when I do those phone calls, those follow up phone calls, a lot of times I'll say, hey, I'd really appreciate it if you wouldn't mind jumping on Google real quick and leaving us a review. And I usually will offer to send them a link so it's
Yeah.
easier for them.
Good.
You definitely have to ask for those, but there's customers that are willing to give them pretty easily, even if you just have to ask real quickly for it.
Yeah, I agree. I live in an amazing apartment complex and I go to an amazing gym. And I'm also a business owner that works with Google reviews. I know the importance of Google reviews. So like it's
Hmm.
always top of my mind. But the gym and the apartment complex both had to like ask me up front, hey, could you leave a review?
Right.
Because they always ask me, hey, how's everything going? Like at the gym, like, how's everything? Like, are you satisfied? I'm like, yeah, it's great, it's awesome, I love it. And they're like, okay, can you leave a review? And I'm like, oh, I
Hmm.
haven't done that yet. Yeah, so I left
Yeah.
a phenomenal 5-star review. Same thing here at the apartment complex. My apartment complex is amazing. They're super nice, accommodating. They love dogs. This apartment complex is like, has so many dogs. I love it. They had to ask me for a review. So at the end of the day, like, for anyone listening, like, ask for a review or
Yes.
reach out to get reviews, because from a marketing standpoint and from a homeowner standpoint, reviews, like, someone's going to spend money with you. They're going to check the reviews to make sure you have
Hmm.
your honest integrity. Like, you have to have at least, 50 minimum, but like 100. If you've been in the industry for a long time, 100 5-star reviews are like what you need to do. And if you don't have those, there are a few tips like the Google cards or reaching out via phone call to get those
Hmm.
reviews up. Or one of our clients has, every time a job is done, they just move the box over and a review link
Hmm.
gets sent out. I don't know if that's what you guys have, but House Call Pro, Service Titan, Jobber, all these CRMs have these tools. You just got to use them.
Yep.
So
You just
make
need to
sure.
use them. Yeah.
Yeah. What CRM do you use?
We're kind of actually looking at new ones right now. We were using House Call Pro, but we're kind of looking at some different options and trying to decide what might work better for us.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let me know. Let me know when you find one. I'm always looking at new information about that. Yeah. Cause
Okay.
like I like House Call Pro. I have 2 clients on House Call Pro, 2 on Service Titan, and then one, he's like, he doesn't have any CRM. Like, he's just doing everything off QuickBooks. He just started his service side. So like, he just
Well,
started.
been there, done that too.
So tell me, so okay, so let's give this client some advice, right? You just started your HVAC business. You've been doing commercial, so you just started the residential side. So it's very very different. What advice would you give that, fresh 1 year HVAC business owner to save them some time from any mistakes that you guys may have made or may not have made?
It's really hard because as a small business owner, you really want to utilize the funds that you have in the best way that you can. And so you try to be really careful about what you spend your money on and what you can do for yourself. And when we first started, we did a lot of, oh, I can do this myself. I can figure this out myself. And there's nothing wrong with that. But once you actually start to grow and you start to realize that your time is more valuable somewhere else, that's when you have to start letting go of those things a little bit and being willing to take the risk of investing some of your money into allowing someone or something else to do that. When we first started, we were just doing QuickBooks, and I was doing all of the invoicing, and I was doing all of this. We were using Google Calendar, and that was what we had.
Yeah.
And it worked okay at first, but the more clients we got, and the busier we got, it got much harder and much more time consuming. And it took me a while to realize that I was wasting money because I was wasting my valuable time doing these little things that
Yeah.
I could automate.
100%. 100%.
So you
So
definitely need to
who,
have some systems in place and be willing to risk a little bit of your money to find the things that work well,
so
because in
what
the
did
long run it helps.
so you had QuickBooks, you had Google Calendar, you might have had Excel or Google Sheets. What was
Mhm.
that first what was that first initial like snap and thought like, okay, I need to choose something to invest in, right? So you're saying you have to, but for you, what was that, like what was that turning point where you're like, okay, I have to do this. It's scary to invest the money, but I'm gonna do it. And what tool did you invest in, if you don't mind me asking too?
Well, I think I just kind of finally started realizing that I was spending a lot of my time with all these tiny little pieces, from the scheduling to building the invoice to making sure and emailing the invoice and or the estimate or whatever, all the little pieces that you have to build into QuickBooks because it's not, I mean, it's just general, right? And then the follow up afterwards, the asking for the reviews and all of the things that go with it. Um, it was just taking up so much of my time
Yeah,
that some of the more important things that I could have been doing weren't getting done. And there was just this huge list of everything you had to end up doing after the job. And it was just getting to be so much that I was just like, I'm
it's
wasting,
crazy.
I'm wasting my time here.
I
So that's when we started kind of looking into systems and stuff. And we've been using House Call Pro. But I was kind of looking at some of the other ones just because I didn't know a whole lot about CRM systems, and I looked at a few of them, and I felt like Service Titan was too much for us because we weren't big enough for
it's a
that yet.
lot. It times a
It
lot. It's
is a
crazy.
lot. Yeah, it is. And so a few of the other people that I know that are kind of in trades and have smaller businesses did House Call Pro, so that's where we went. But like I said, we are looking at a few other things. We have a marketing person that we've been talking with a little bit, and he has his own CRM system. So I was going to kind of look at his and see what it was like. But you definitely need one.
Yeah, no, you do. Actually, I'm a marketer, so I'm gonna give this secret up. But a lot of marketers now use a system called Go High Level, and this is our Go High Level. It most likely will look like this. Now, some
Okay.
few
Hmm.
people have their own system, which is great. But a lot of companies like myself will build a system like this. Let me see if I can show you my other guys. Everest, where is it? Yeah, right here. And we'll let you know that you can have a like a CRM. This is essentially what it looks like. Did
Okay.
they show you like a CRM, something like this, where you can put?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. This
okay.
looks pretty similar.
Yeah, so all of us use Go High Level. It's an amazing system, and I love it. We use it for all our HVAC guys, but we plug it into their Google Calendar, their House Call Pro, their Service Titan,
Hmm.
whatever they're using. That's what we do it for. But yeah, it's a good tool. I like it. It's very very there's a lot. It's like it's a good toolbox. Like it's a big toolbox, and you just got to learn how to
Right.
use the tools, right? So
Hmm.
having your
Hmm.
marketer person like show you how to do that and leverage it, kill it
Yes.
immediately right
Yes.
there. But anyone
Well, that's
watch it?
another
Yeah.
important part. Like once you start putting those things in place, make sure you understand them and that you know how to use them too, and you don't just leave it to someone else, like your marketer
Oh gosh,
or your
yeah.
salesperson or whatever, because you never know what's going to happen. And if you get to the point where you want to do something or they're not there to do something and you have no idea how to work any of it, or horrible worst case scenario, you are in an argument and have disagreement with someone that you're working with and they take it all away from you.
I've
You
seen
have
that happen.
no way of accessing it. Yeah,
I've
I
seen
have
that
too, and it's
happen.
awful.
It's
I
horrible.
mean,
And I
that'll
don't,
close your business, man.
oh my gosh, if my Google got taken away from me, like if I gave someone to my Google and they kicked me off, I wouldn't have a business. I wouldn't. Like
Right,
literally, like it's
right.
crazy how something so small can like think my business, but like it's a
Yeah.
fact. Or if someone hops into my Facebook account and like does something bad, I'm done,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
right? So I'm very
Right.
careful with any link I click on. And they're very like these scammers are getting smart. Like
Oh
they
yeah.
they know how to like fly by. Like I almost clicked on a link from an email because if I get a message from Facebook, I'm like, Facebook doesn't message me about my page being banned. No, they don't do that. But email, they
Right.
do email me. So I saw one. I'm like, what the heck? So I didn't click the link, but I saw the domain and it wasn't from like meta.com. It was from
Right.
like, weird user, all this stuff. And I was like, it's a
Mhm.
scam. I almost got
Yeah.
caught, but I didn't. So
Yeah. Well, when Facebook have like their little downtime or whatever, I don't know. I think it was earlier this month.
yeah.
That was my day that I was working on Facebook posts. So I'd go to my planner and I put in some posts, to plan ahead. And so I went to go log into Facebook and it wasn't working. And that was my first thought. Oh my God, someone stole my Facebook page. Oh no, I'm in
The
trouble. I kind of freaked out a little bit. So I was very relieved to find out that it wasn't just me.
the every time something's down, the first thing I go to is Twitter because Twitter reports very fast. There's
Yeah,
always
that's
like,
smart.
especially like last week or 2 weeks ago, a lot of the people that ran Facebook ads and Instagram ads got together and just like, hey, what's wrong? Like, are you guys all seeing all these like, costs per leads going up and like, or is your Facebook ad account spending? And I chipped in, I'm like, hey, my Facebook accounts, none of my clients are spending any money. And then someone's like, yeah, Facebook's not showing any ads. And I'm like, what the frick? Like that sucks. But the cool thing about marketing is, it's a whole bunch of arms, right? And if one arm goes
Right.
down, you should have other arms already
Yes.
in there, right?
Mhm.
So one thing I like to tell people is your Google My Business is the number one thing that's going to help you like kill it locally. Like you're not trying to
Mhm.
get someone in Denver, or are you?
No, no.
Okay, cool. You're okay, cool. You're in Colorado Springs. So I just want to make sure, like, before I say anything, you're not trying to get someone in Denver. So, like, you don't need to like invest super heavily in SEO. Your SEO literally is your 5-star Google ratings.
Right.
What are
Yeah.
people are saying to you? And I honestly think like for like how you were saying, honest education, integrity, me too. And I think it's sometimes backwards when marketers reach out to people like yourself and say, hey, you need SEO to be seen more. Or really all you need is really 5-star reviews. Like keep doing what you're doing, right? You're
Right.
gonna you're
Mhm.
gonna elevate yourself by just getting 5-star reviews. If your homeowners take pictures with you guys, it'll kill it. It'll do so well.
That's a great
Um,
idea. I'm
yeah,
gonna remember that one. I
yeah.
love that.
It's because like Google likes images and like when you go check out a restaurant, you look for the pictures. You don't read the reviews, you check for the pictures.
That's
So
true.
someone, not saying you're a restaurant, but the first thing that Google wants to show people is images and videos. So if you have a really amazing homeowner, like let's say you have Susan, who you've given Christmas cards the last 5 years, 4 years, and she's awesome, and you guys like really, really have good bonding and rapport. Next time you go out there, like, hey, Susan, can you take a picture with our tech and like either update your Google review or give us another Google review from a different account. That will help you so much. And if anything, that Google review will appear up top above all the other ones because
Yeah.
the longer the Google review is and the more pictures it has, the higher quality it is. And
Hmm.
Google's saying, wow, if someone's like taking their time to take a picture for this HVAC company, that's very valuable because other HVAC companies aren't getting pictures. So that's
Yeah.
my
Yeah. That's smart.
I always try to tell people, I know it's awkward, especially for a tech that only wants to do their trade.
The job.
It, I know it's awkward to get a picture with the homeowner, but if you have a happy homeowner in front of a unit with thumbs up, it's done. You
So
don't need to
smart.
pay for SEO. That's your SEO right there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Um,
really smart.
yeah, I didn't mean to like go on the marketing, but once I like get in, I get all jazzed about it. So
I get
What's
that.
before we end the pod, what's one thing you feel like you can like teach any HVAC business owner if you were on stage for 5 minutes in front of thousands of HVAC owners? What would you teach them?
I'm just going to go back to that building relationships.
I knew it. Yeah.
We are so disconnected anymore. I mean, how many times have you gone into a restaurant and, your food was fine, the service, I mean, she kept your drink filled and she got your order right and all those things, but there was hardly any interaction or anything. You were kind of just like, oh, well, that was just
It's
okay,
rare. It's
you
rare.
know? Um, the human piece has started leaving, and so I'm trying to add that back in. And I think the more that you can do that and give them that kind of experience, especially with their HVAC. I mean, how many times can you say, oh my gosh, I love my HVAC people, I know them by their
Yeah.
first names. um, the more you can do that, they're going to want to sell for you. They're going to become your marketing. They're going to be excited to talk about you because
Exactly.
they've had a different experience than what anybody else has had. So that is such a huge piece. Like, just even in your community, get out on Facebook and other social medias and get involved in those community pages. And instead of trying to sell them something, educate them about something. I go on once a month and I say, hey, it's the first of the month. Don't forget to check your filter. Change your
Wow.
furnace filter. I don't say, let me come sell you a filter. I say, this is just your reminder to do that. Every year, like when every season changes, hey, I just want to remind you, check your carbon monoxide detector and your smoke detector in your homes. Um, you know, Simple little things like that to build that relationship and keep yourself in top of mind for people is the most important thing I think we can do.
There you go. Relationship building. Relationship
Yeah.
building 101 with Brandy. I love it. I love it. Well, thanks for being on. I appreciate you. A lot of value in this episode. Make sure to like and subscribe, guys. Brandy, any last words?
I just really appreciate you having me on and giving me this opportunity to kind of talk about our business and share with other people. I appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you.